Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privakatara Śrīmad His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privakatara Śrīmad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai. Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Śrīmad Bhagavad-g as it is, ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Gopremananda. Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together please. Om Ajnana Tamarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuktap Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Brindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patidanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. Oh, not used to this new chair. Big comfy chair. So anyway, reading from Śrīmad Bhagavad-g as it is. Chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, verse number 3. Correct? Sachidananda, he knows everything.
Sachinandan.
Sachinandan, you changed your name. Okay. Sachinandan, the darling of Mother Sachi. So, please repeat. Sa evāyaṁ mayā adya yogaḥ proktaḥ purātanaḥ bhakto me sakhā ceti rahasyam etad uttamam sa evāyaṁ mayā adya yoga proktaḥ purātanaḥ bhakto me sakhā ceti rahasyam etad uttamam sa evāyaṁ mayā adya yoga proktaḥ purātanaḥ bhakto me sakhā ceti rahasyam etad uttamam. Okay, go ahead.
Evāyaṁ yoga proktaḥ purātanaḥ bhakto me sakhā ceti rahasyam etad uttamam. Yoga proktaḥ purātanaḥ
Usi me sakhā ceti rahasyam etad uttamam. So, thank you very much. Word for word. Please repeat. Sakhā, the same. Eva, certainly. Ayam, this. Mayā, by me. Te, unto you. Adya, Today, yogaḥ, the science of yoga, proktaḥ, spoken, purātanaḥ, very old, bhaktaḥ, devotee, asi, you are, me, my, sakhā, friend, cha, also, eti, therefore, rahasyam, mystery, he, certainly, etad, this, uttamam, transcendental. Translation Srila Prabhupada. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Please repeat. That very ancient science of relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Purport Srila Prabhupada. There are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjuna as the recipient of this great science owing to his being a devotee of the Lord. But for the demon it is not possible to understand this great mysterious science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentaries by the devotees, and some of them have commentaries by the demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Śrī Kṛṣṇa as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demonic, however, do not accept Lord Kṛṣṇa as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Kṛṣṇa and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna, and thus be benefited by this great science of bhakti yoga. Mukham karochi vachalam pangam laite girim yad kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru nidatarinam sa evāyaṁ mayā adya yoga proktaḥ purātanaḥ bhaktosi me sakhā ceti rahasyam etad uttamam. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Yes, so Krishna is telling him, Arjuna, yoga. What is yoga? And we should understand, we read this, but we may take it very lightly, that ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme. That is not a small thing, right? In this material world, there are many, many people going here and there, maybe climbing Mount Everest, or trying to go to the bottom of the ocean in a submarine, or going here, going there, right? So many endeavors. But that is inaction, because it is all material and it will all come to nothing in the end. But here, this little phrase here, the science of the relationship with the Supreme, to know the absolute truth, that is a wonderful thing, is it not? To actually be situated in knowledge of the absolute truth. Not only just knowledge, but relationship. The translation there, yoga yukta, proktaḥ. Yoga. Yoga means union, plus, addition, It means to be in union with the absolute truth. Material world means everyone is in union with some material endeavor. I want to get money, I want to get position, I want to get sex life, I want to get this, I want to get that. But that is inaction, because it all comes to nothing. At the time of death, you carry your karma to your next life. Nothing permanent is there. Everything is lost. But if you get your actual relationship with the Supreme, then you have an eternal benefit. So we were explaining last week that first, Krishna now is going to reveal himself in a very direct way as the Supreme Lord. You see how Vyasadeva has put the first verse, Śrī Bhagavan Avacha. Śrī Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the possessor of opulence, the Supreme Lord. He is speaking. In chapter 3, Krishna was telling Arjuna, you must do your duty, Arjuna. You can't leave the battlefield. You must do your duty. You can't just walk away because you don't like your duty. Arjuna, at the beginning of the Gita, we'll recap, was confused. What should I do? I don't want to fight in this battle. Then it's very ghastly. Krishna said, you're not the body, Arjuna. You're the spirit soul. And so is everyone else here on the battlefield. Nobody is being killed. Actually, they're going to transmigrate to their next body if they do die on the battlefield. And you cannot use that as an argument. You are actually a spirit soul. So now you have to be situated in this knowledge of your spiritual nature. You must be self-situated and you must act accordingly. So Arjuna, at the beginning of the 3rd chapter, he said, oh, Krishna, you're telling me to be self-situated as a spirit soul. But now, instead of being situated as a spirit soul, you want me to engage in a battle, a ghastly battle, fighting and killing? Arjuna was saying this is a contradiction. No, Krishna said, no, Arjuna, you cannot just withdraw into the idea that I'm a spirit soul. He said, no, because everybody must act in the material or spiritual world. The Supreme Lord is not static in personal energy. He is an ecstatic person. And we are his expansions. We by nature want variety in activity. So Krishna told Arjuna, now you must engage in your duty, but offer it to Vishnu. That is karma yoga. Do your duty as prescribed by Vedic injunction, your pious duty to fight on a good side. On the other side, Duryodhana is number one bad person. So you cannot renounce your duty, but you must do it not just for the sake of duty, but you must do it for Vishnu. So that's bhakti added to karma yoga. Your work, karma, is being offered to Vishnu. So that's very good. But Krishna said, offer to Vishnu. He didn't say, I am actually the source of Vishnu. I am the source of Mahavishnu. I am the source of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. I am the source of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. I am the source of all the avatars, Matsya, Kurama, Varaha, so on and so forth. I empower all the Guna avatars, all the Leela avatars, all the Yuga avatars. They're my expansions. He didn't say that. That is the Leela of Krishna. Before we understand Leela, and the amazing fact that, in the Bhagavatam it explains that Krishna appears as Matsya, a fish. He appears as boar. Before we understand those amazing pastimes of Krishna, first we have to understand Krishna. This is what we were explaining last week. First you understand a person. If I want to get to know you, I get to know your personality, your capabilities. Then I can understand what you're doing in life. your pastimes, your activity. First I get to know the person, then the activities of the person. But that is very good. Okay, we want to know Krishna. Then we can understand his pastimes, his motivation, his activities. But that is, what's the next step? The next step is that we should enter into that relationship with Krishna. That we should not just have knowledge of Krishna's personality and activities, but rather we should enter into those activities directly. So Vishnu means, Sanskrit translation, one meaning is he who lives everywhere. And it's a particular reference to Krishna is pervading the whole material world. But as Prabhupada always phrased, Krishna is Bhagavan, or even higher than that, he is Purushottam. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are many personalities of Godhead. There are Nrsimha, there are the Vishnus, there's the avatars, the Leela avatars, and so on. But who is the supreme aspect of Godhead? That is Krishna. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. So when we understand Krishna, then we can understand in relationship to Krishna all the expansions and avatars. We can understand the living entity. What is the living entity? We can understand his pastimes within the material energy. We can understand his pastimes in Haridam as Narayan and with Lakshmi. In Goloka we can understand everything. But we have to start from understanding Krishna. So we may learn about somebody, a personality in this world, and then we interpret that personality and view his activities accordingly. But this is the relationship with the Supreme Person. So this is not a small endeavor. This is the most wonderful endeavor. This is the highest endeavor. And this is the real endeavor of a human being. The real endeavor of a human being is not just to satisfy the material senses. You should do that in a regulated way. But his life's goal should be the relationship with the Supreme. We study Krishna, we study his pastimes in the Bhagavatam, and then we learn, that is good, that is sambandha gyan, but then we learn abhideya, how to enter into those pastimes. And then we pursue that path. So, first, here, Krishna is giving transcendental knowledge. I'm telling you now, the ancient science of relationship with the Supreme. And that is called yoga. In one word, union with the Supreme. And you're all experienced devotees. Mama angsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. The living entity is an angsa. It's a part of the absolute truth. We are, Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, and we are his angsa. Just like a spark is part of the fire. There are many, many, many sparks in the fire. Krishna is the supreme fire. Krishna is the supreme sun. We are particles of sunshine. We are his emanations. So this is sambandha gyan. Sambandha gyan means relationship. So there are 6 sambandhas. The relationship of the Supreme Lord with his material energy, the relationship of the Supreme Lord with his spiritual energy, the relationship between the material energy and the spiritual energy, that makes 3, the relationship of the material energy to the living entity, that makes 4, the relationship of the spiritual energy to the living entity, that's 5, and 6, the relationship between the material energy and the spiritual energy. So that is sambandha gyan. How all the different factors, as we see from the Vishnu Puran, Krishna has multifarious energies, but they can be categorized into three. Within those three, there is many variables. But one is the Chit Shakti, one is the Achit Shakti, the material energy. Chit is spiritual, and then there is the Jiva Shakti. So, when we understand those, and we hear about these, and we learn about this, because the potency of the knowledge is correct, because it's based on the absolute truth, it's not illusory energy, then we realize the Supreme. By the mercy of the Supreme. Atak Śrī Kṛṣṇa nāmādi nā bhaved graham indriya sevan mukhi jīvādo svayameva spuriyada. Transcendental knowledge, right? So we cannot understand the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the materially contaminated senses. We are a spirit soul, but we're within the subtle body of mind and intelligence and false ego, and that body is within the gross body of the 5 gross elements. We are spirit soul, but we're conditioned. We're within that. That's limiting our realization of the Supreme Lord. So how are we to understand the Supreme Lord, the ancient relationship between us, the whole universe and all the living entities, and the Supreme Lord? That is understood by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Because though we are in limited condition, because of the material life, we have limited strength covering our spirit soul, though we are in this limited condition, the Supreme Lord is not limited. He can give realization to anyone. But he says here, Arjuna, now I'm going to give you this spiritual knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, and when you hear it, your doubts and your realization will go away, though of course you can question and deepen your understanding. But why am I giving it to you? Why am I not giving it to Duryodhana? He's on the other side of the battlefield. Well, you're devotees, you all know. I'm not telling him because he's a demon. So Prabhupada says here very plainly, there are 2 classes of men, devotee and the demon. So what is the demon? In Sanskrit it means asura. Not su, very ra, pleasure. Using the dhatus, not very pleasure. They are materialistic. They want to enjoy the material energy in forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord. So because they want to enjoy the material energy and forget the Supreme Lord, that's what they're given. They're given avidya. They're given the concept, I'm this material body, so therefore I should satisfy this material body. And they try that. That is avidya. The effect of the material energy when the spirit soul uses his minute independence to enjoy is that 2 things. He becomes godless. That means he doesn't know who is God. He may have some tribal idea of God, or some historic idea, or some speculation of God. Maybe God is a light, maybe God is energy, maybe there's no God, maybe this guitar player is God. It's called in Sanskrit pashandi. He doesn't have the correct definition of God, which is given in the Vedas. Pashandi means somebody who does not accept the Vedic conclusion. So that may seem very dictatorial. But we understand that the Vedas, they are the manual, the handbook on the material and spiritual world. Just like when there's a creation in this world, somebody creates a computer or a smartphone or something, it comes with a manual, does it not? The creator, the manufacturer, doesn't just make something and then sell it. He sells it with a manual. So the Vedas are the manual that accompanies the material and spiritual creation. If I create something, I explain how to use it to somebody. So that's what the Vedas are. But that knowledge can be absorbed here, Krishna is saying, by somebody. I'm telling you this because you're my devotee, like I say. So Krishna reveals in the heart, matak smriti jnanam apohanam cha, the correct understanding to the devotee. Why? Because they're friendly. They don't have an envious attitude. And there's a very good verse in the Bhagavatam, right? The second verse in the Bhagavatam explains this. Because the Bhagavatam, like we say, Krishna is explaining himself very much here in the Gita, but the Bhagavatam is a full exposition of the nature of Krishna in snapshot form. But that second verse, Dhamma projita kaitavotra paramo nimacharanam satam, paramo nimacharanam satam, vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadan tapa trambulanam, Śrīmad Bhagavad-g mahak muni krite kim vapara ishvaraha, sadyo hridya anvarudita tra kritibesu sushibistakshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. And now that's an important point. The science of the Supreme that Krishna is going to give, it's devoid of material motivation. That is the Asura. The Asura wants to enjoy material activity. Through his activity, through his knowledge, his mental speculation, his aim is to enjoy the material world. Even though he'll lose everything and just accrue karma that will propel him into another life, he wants to enjoy the material world. So the Bhagavatam is that book which completely rejects any tinge of that. So it's called the Amala Puran, the spotless Puran. It propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. And so in the word for word we see here, Parama Nimacharanam. Matsya is one of the is the whole problem in the material world, envy. There are 6 afflictions of the mind given: lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy. These are the material afflictions, diseases of the subtle body. We want to enjoy the material world. We're lusty to get this, get that. Then we're greedy. We want more. We're never satisfied. Lust, anger, greed. We become angry after lusty activity. We become angry because we're frustrated. Then we become greedy. Then we enter into illusion about the material world in our anger and greed. And then we become proud. We try to balance things. I'm better than you. And then we have matsarya. Matsarya means envy. So envy has 3 aspects. The envious person, and there's different degrees of it, but the envious person wants to disparage people that he thinks lower. Oh, you are not as educated as me. You're a buffalo. That is envy. People that we consider below ourselves, we try to put them down. We think, if I put somebody down, I put myself up. So that is one aspect. Then people that we think is in our peer group, we have a sense of rivalry. Brother against brother. Oh, you're my brother, yeah, but I'm going to get a better job than you. I'm going to get a more beautiful wife than you. We have a sense of competition and rivalry. And this is in the material world, right? People are fighting. I want to be number 1. Now we have the Olympics, right? Nobody wants to be number 3 or number 2. So everyone wants to be number 1. So they have a sense of rivalry. And we become entertained by people winning and losing. And then, so that sense of rivalry with our peer group. And then people that we see above us, or he's got more money, more beautiful wife, more material facility, then we become hateful, critical. Oh, he can play the madanga better than me. I don't like him. Huh? Right, this kind of attitude. Huh? Oh, his motorbike is bigger than mine. I hope he falls off it. So this is envy. This is affliction, right? And the root of it is our desire to enjoy the material world. We're envious because we're judging everyone relative to myself. I'm higher, he's lower, he's above me, he's this. And we have this kind of construction in our mind. Instead of being situated in knowledge and seeing everything in relationship to the Supreme Lord. And that's what Krishna is going to be taught. So the devotee can understand this because he's come out of that mist of Matsarya where he's assessing friend and enemy, and what's good for me, and what's good for you, and what's good for this, and how can I profit from this situation. He's come out of that confusion. And how does he come out of that confusion? By realizing the absolute truth. As we said earlier, in the material world, people are godless. And the other effect of avidya, this material identification, is that they become fruitive. They want to enjoy profit. They're always thinking, what's my advantage in this situation? I don't know who God is. I think I'm God. My desires are God. And what's my profit in this situation? So the real condition of the soul is to be ecstatic lover of God. But prakriti stani kashati. He's struggling with the mind. Why? Because he doesn't have the beginning installment of love of God. He doesn't know who is God, like we're saying. He has no interest. He's godless. He has no real understanding. He has a misconception of the Supreme Lord. Or he has a speculation that he's picked up and he's just settling upon it because it's socially acceptable. But he has no real realization. But once the Supreme Lord is realized, what happens? The person loses, or the spirit soul rather, loses fruitive desire and becomes naturally devoted. And what's that verse? Aham sarvasya pravavo matak sarvam prabhatate iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanvita. That's there in the Gita, the Chaturasloki. I am the source of everything material and spiritual, Krishna is explaining. I am the Supreme Lord. This is what we're saying at the beginning. Understand Krishna. Iti matva bhajanti mam. Those that know this, buddha bhava samanvita, very nicely, they naturally become my devotee. So the antidote to useless material endeavor, trying to accumulate material facility and possessions, is realization of the Supreme Lord. And then, once that realization is there, the natural effect is that we become devoted. Because that is the nature of the soul. Mama angsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. So, if you're thinking, I'm greedy for this material world, I have a problem, how to deal with it? The antidote is realization of the absolute truth. That greediness to enjoy will naturally fade away the more you realize Krishna. And instead, you won't become inactive like Arjuna was saying, I don't want to fight, I don't want to fight. It's a ghastly thing. I'll just be situated as a spirit soul. The activities will be devoted. I will act for the Supreme. And that is our natural relationship. That is Sambandha Gyan. I was saying there's 6 Sambandhas. And our relationship to the Supreme is Gopi Bhata Kamalayo Dasa Dasana Das. That is inbuilt. That is inbuilt to the soul. That is the natural. It is not an artificial imposition. It is the nature of the soul. The soul is naturally a lover of the Supreme Lord. As it said, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhakabanai Shravanari Sudachitte Karide Udaya. So how is it woken up? Shravanari Sudachitte. By hearing and chanting of the Supreme Lord, by studying the scripture, the commentary of the acharyas, by hearing from devotees and chanting with sincerity, as it says here, you're my friend and my devotee, with a devoted priti purvakam, then we realize the Supreme Lord. It becomes natural. And then, karide udai, the love of God wakes up. So we learn Krishna, then we understand his pastimes, and then we enter into relationship with Krishna. But it's a natural progression. But it starts from understanding Krishna. Because if you understand Krishna, then all the sambandhas are naturally related, understood. Because Krishna includes all the relationships with his avatars, with his material energy, his spiritual energy, all the spirit souls. That is there. And therefore there is that verse, right? Yasya deve parabhakti, yasya deve tataguru, taishyete kahita yata prakashante mahatmana. One who has implicit faith in the Supreme Lord, to him and the Guru, bona fide Guru, all the import of Vedic knowledge is automatically revealed. Automatically, that means that the soul becomes enlightened. Tesham sat evanukam patham aham agyana jamtama nashyami atmabhavasto jnana deepena bhashvata. Krishna enlightens the soul. He bestows the vidya potency. In the material world, avidya. What is this? What is that? What is my advantage? Who is my friend? Who is my enemy? Confusion, prakriti, sthani, kashati. But now, I'm becoming absorbed on the spiritual platform. I'm gaining yoga by this knowledge. So, Shravanadi, Sudachitte, by hearing and chanting the 9 practices, hearing, chanting, smaranam, remembering, doing service, archanam, vandanam, these are the internal process of bhakti. Arjuna was told initially, you're a Kshatriya, now do your duty. That is external, that is his material propensity. Engage your material propensity in the Supreme. That is Vidimarg. But Ragmarg is the essence of Vedas. Rag means to walk the path of attraction. And that path of attraction is beyond any material propensity. It means that the Supreme Lord is attractive to everyone, whether they're a worker, a businessman, or a politician, or a doctor, or a Brahmin, or a this. Rag means the path of, rag means attraction. So that attraction to Krishna, which opens our relationship to Krishna, that is Ragmarg. So that is opened through hearing and chanting Maksita Matgata Prana about the Supreme Lord. From the right source. Prabhupada makes that point in the Purport. There are so many commentaries on the Gita, but many of them are by scholars and this and that. I know before I read Prabhupada's Gita, I read 2 other Gitas, and I picked up a bit of here and this and that. But when I read Prabhupada's Gita, I thought, wow, this is straightforward, this is clear. So that is the difference, Vidya and Avidya. A lot of the commentators, they are just scholars, Sanskrit scholars, this and that, and they're mixing their own ideas in and this and that. That will not help you. that will confuse you. But if you hear from the right source, Shravanadi, and you then discuss with your society of devotees, then it becomes clear. Because Krishna is within the heart of all living entities, and he enlightens from within. So as that enlightenment takes place, then we realize the truth of it. But the important point here, the starting point that is being given here and in the Bhagavatam, is that you should be ready to hear. Prabhupada calls it submissive oral reception. Now, submissive oral reception doesn't mean to say that you read the Gita and the commentary there with no intelligence. Submissive. Yes, yes. No, what it means is you read the Gita and the commentaries and you practice buddhi yoga. You practice your intelligence to understand. But you're not using your intelligence to fight off the knowledge there, but you're trying to understand what is being said by the acharyas, what is by the Supreme Lord. It doesn't mean to say, I am now a devotee, I am accepting everything, whatever you say I will do, whatever you say I should believe. No. Vacuous, that is not submissive oral reception. Submissive oral reception means you listen and you exert your intelligence to understand the message. Huh? Just like a friend. A friend, you have a problem, you sit with your friend and say, look, I have a problem. And say, oh yeah, okay, tell me your problem. Your friend listens sympathetically, trying to be empathetic, understand your position. He doesn't say, oh, why are you letting that upset you? You're stupid. No, he tries to understand why you're trying to use his intelligence to guide you and help you. He's not saying, oh, your wife isn't cooking properly. Well, that's your problem. You know, oh, look, well then buy her a cookbook or something like this. So it means, submissive oral reception means that you use your intelligence to understand the message. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Huh? So that's very important. It doesn't mean to say that you just believe anything that you hear. No, but you use your intelligence. And Krishna will say later to Arjuna, he says, those that study this sacred conversation, the Bhagavad Gita between Arjuna and Krishna, study, worship me with their intelligence. Like we can worship Krishna by offering a lamp or offering some incense, some foodstuffs. We can worship Krishna by using our intelligence. What does that mean? And then Krishna, Spuriyada, he gives understanding. He gives understanding. Why? Because you're a devotee and a friend. Because you're sincere in your approach. You're not trying to rebuff the knowledge. Now, at the beginning, of course, we may be in neophyte condition. We're full of doubts and questions. So we should put our questions there. And we should consider that. But we should not be looking to rebuff the knowledge. We should be entering into a proper reciprocation with the person who is instructing. But it is dangerous to just think that I should just become a vacuous follower. That is fanaticism. Oh, I'm not using my intelligence, I'm just doing what the Guru says, and he said this, and I think that's what it means. No. What does it say in the Bhagavatam? Yayanti hi sumedasa. Those that are intelligent engage in the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we should develop our intelligence. But you don't have to worry that, oh, well, I didn't pass any exams in school, I was always bottom of the class. No, intelligence means that you're listening to Krishna in that favorable light. This ancient science of relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you're my friend. And Krishna, the unlimited Supreme Lord, will give you the right understanding in accordance with what is necessary at your particular level of development. Krishna will guide you accordingly. So we should be ready. Now I'm getting a good idea from Krishna. Krishna's within the heart. He instructs the devotee, gives him guidance. And more we realize that that's the fact, that Krishna is giving us guidance. We're starting to hear Krishna within the heart, within the consciousness. So sometimes people say, how do I know if it's my own mind, my own consciousness, or it is Krishna within the heart who's giving me inspiration? How do I know if it's my concoction or it's Krishna? It's a very good question. How to distinguish between our mind? Well, it's quite simple in a way, one way. If I scratch myself here, I know I'm doing it. But then if somebody comes along and scratches the skin here, I know that's coming from somebody else, right? They're both scratching or touching the skin, and I'm picking it up. But I know this is mine, and I know that that's somebody else. So within the mind, we must learn to see which is out, because we're conscious beings, full of thought and consciousness and active mind. We must know, but we must learn to listen for Krishna to speak to us within the heart. And we should not think, that's not possible, I'm just a neophyte. No, that is our relationship with the Supreme. The relationship with the Supreme that is mentioned here, I'm going to tell you this relationship. First step is knowledge. Krishna is a very ancient science. In fact, it's the original science, comes with the creation. This relationship with the Supreme, this is the point of it, to reciprocate with Krishna. That's our relationship, to reciprocate. Just like in the Ras Leela, Krishna is dancing with each gopi, and the gopi is dancing this way and Krishna is echoing her movements. So relationship with the Supreme means to enter into the eternal nectarine, eternal dance of the spiritual world. Now we're dancing with the material energy, 11th chapter, the Varat Rupa. We're dancing with birth, death, old age and disease. But in the spiritual world, everyone is dancing with Krishna in ecstasy, in eternality. Some in conjugal ras, some in vatsalya ras, some in sakhya ras, friendship, some in dasya bhav. All these different relationships. And they're all reciprocating with Krishna. And that is the relationship with the Supreme. It is not one of, tell me what to do, Krishna. Surrender doesn't mean that I am just going to be robotically controlled by Krishna. No, Krishna doesn't want, nobody wants a robot. He wants servants who are creative, who can reciprocate with him, who stimulate his abilities, and who are stimulated by his opulences. That is relationship with the Supreme. So the process of sadhana practice means to do that. It means to pick up, when is Krishna giving me instruction? When is he giving me understanding that I should follow? And that is sadhana bhakti. So that's why we chant 16 rounds. Sadhana means regulated bhakti, regulated hearing and chanting. We chant 16 rounds. We follow 4 regulative principles. We learn puja, pancharatriki vidhi, and we don't do it mechanically. We do it as an offering, as worship to our friend, Krishna. And we're waiting for some reciprocation. And Krishna will do that. Krishna will reciprocate. Because he's a person. That's the secret. So just like if I'm nice to you, you hopefully will be nice to me. Right? If I say nice words to you, you'll say nice words to me. If I take you into consideration, you'll take me into consideration. So Krishna is a person. He responds to his, but he reveals himself, sakhā ceti, sakhā ceti. You're my friend and you're my devotee. You're not envious person. So how do we get into that relationship? Vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivādanam. We must first cleanse the mind, reduce the material intoxication, then everything is auspicious. And then vidyavadu jivanam, in that first verse of the Shikshastakam, it means that you will naturally have a welling up of spiritual knowledge within. Right? You're all devotees. You know this fact, right? Isn't it? You sit down, you read the Bhagavatam, and then you just realize, oh, that's right. Krishna is doing that for every devotee who is his God-friendly dealing. And that is his happiness. Just like if we have a friend and we trust that person, then we like to tell him our opinion, our ideas, right? We like to reveal our personality. And we tell him stories. Did you know one time I was in China and I met this and this happened? We tell him our personality and our activities. We like to reveal ourselves to somebody who we feel trusting, whom we trust. So Krishna is the same way. Krishna, he is unlimited, so his mercy is unlimited. And in Kali Yuga, he has come as Lord Chaitanya to embody that mercy. And anyone who studies Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the writings of the Goswamis, the great acharyas, and develops a loving attitude towards Krishna, rag-marg, attraction to Krishna, then Krishna in the heart reveals himself, and then he reveals his understanding of his pastimes, and then we enter into those pastimes. That's the beginning of the Bhagavatam, isn't it? Narada Muni, he was instructed, he did his meditation, and then in one form of meditation, one day, the Supreme Lord entered his meditation, and then he became in samadhi, considering the Supreme Lord. So we should understand that that is not just for Narada Muni or Prahlad Maharaj, that is for every single spirit soul. You understand? Don't think, oh, that's just for Sanatana Goswami or Rupa Goswami or the great devotees or Prabhupada or Bhakti Siddhanta. We should be confident, Rupa Goswami. Yes, I'm a spirit soul. That's what I'm meant for. And this is a great thing, a great thing. This is the greatest endeavor. We can do our material activities. We have to maintain the body. But in the center, we should be doing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam regularly, morning and evening. Maybe in the day we have to do some practical matters. And then gradually we will enter into realization of a relationship with the Supreme. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we should be confident in that. I'm going to do it. That's my life's work. And that is the greatest endeavor. Everything else is, what is it? It means nothing. This is the most incredible thing that as human beings we have a chance to realize our relationship with the absolute truth. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And it's so simple. We hear the Shastra, the writings of the sages, we chant Hare Krishna, and we try to develop good personality, sadachar, good behavior, and we put ourselves in the hands of Krishna. Like Bibhishan. He went to Ram and he said, Ram, I can't stay with Ravana. He's doing terrible things. How can he treat Sita like this? I'm coming to you, Ram. I surrender to you. And you can do. And then Ram said, anyone who comes to me and says, I am yours, then I take care of that person. That is my eternal promise. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you all very much. Any quick question before Sachi and Nandan starts turning off the lights? Any question? Everything clear? Yes, everyone confident? Everyone fired up? Yes, I will achieve my relationship with the Supreme. What is the problem? What is the difficulty? Because Krishna is Arjuna is the friend of and devotee of Krishna, but who is the devotee and friend of Arjuna? Krishna. Yes. So you become the friend and devotee of Krishna, and he becomes your devotee and friend. Right? Jai Radhe, Jai Shyam, Vrindavan Dham, Sadhu Sangha Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Thank you all very much.